I'm Bryan. I was born and raised in Mesa, Arizona. Been a native my entire life, lived here my entire life, love it. Grew up in a family, faith-based. They introduced me to God at a young age. But about early 20s was about when life started, and it was kind of survive. I've got to raise my kids. I've got to succeed in business, and I was doing things my way. It was all, how can I do bigger deals? How I look up to these mentors doing land deals. How can I do more? And I always had that relationship with God, but I always knew deep down in my soul that I wasn't all in. There was something missing. A friend of mine, Sean, called me up one morning and says, "Bryan, I got to introduce you to this guy." It's this pastor in Phoenix. He's resurrecting a church with bullet holes and broken windows. And God just called him from a church back east that was huge and thriving, told him he's going to come down here and revive this church in this ghetto part of Phoenix. And I said, I got to meet this guy. So we went to lunch, and it was that day that God just touched me, and he says, "You've got to trust me with your finances, and you've got to help this guy." I finally realized that I'm not in control. Everything that I have is not mine. That I just said, God, I understand finally that this is yours, that all of this stuff is yours. And everything that came from him is a blessing. And it's what I do with those blessings that matter. And it was just amazing, because what we had before was 100%. And now that we give God back the first tenth of what's already his, it's not ours, that remaining 90% is blessed. And when we reseed that 90% of blessed funds goes 10 times as far as 100% of what we used to have that wasn't blessed. I mean, it's amazing. People ask, how did you even come to that deal? Or how did that deal spin to work out in your favor? I can't even explain it. I can't even put the numbers together on an Excel worksheet. It just doesn't make sense. It's only God. So we started a nonprofit called Step 7. We wanted to start something where we could directly, actively impact people's lives, and then attract other people, friends and family, that can then come on board and say, I want to be part of that mission. Talking with God about, okay, how can I put this together? And I was in line at the City of Mesa utility line to pay for a permit to build our house finally. And look over, and there's just these multiple families they're crying, and they can't, it's the middle of summer, they can't keep on their bills, and they can't keep their utility bills on, and they've got kids. And I just thought, how awesome would it be to just go up to them and say, God is good. I've got this. I want to take care of this and help you out today. They're probably not even gonna let me through the door to talk to anybody, but I'm gonna you just work through me. Just give me the words, I'll just be there. And I just didn't even rehearse. I just walked in there with a smile, and I'll never forget. I asked the first person to tell her, I said, can I speak to your director? She put her head back down, and she looked up and just had this look in her face like, oh, yeah, hold on. And something just changed her, and didn't say anything special. Next thing you know, I'm in the director's office. She's crying. She pulls in one of her friends, she's crying, and they're saying, this is awesome, let's do this. So that next Thursday, we went there, and every person that we touch and that we're able to help out through Step 7, the best part about it is we're able to give them a devotional to take back with them to read. We open up that door to relationship with God if they don't have it already. So at the same time, we're able to help people out. We're able to open up that conversation about their faith and just say, God is good. And that's the best part about what we're doing. We wanted to start a men's group, kind of a life group, where we could do something during the week outside of church, grow spiritually together. So we started this men's group. Then all of a sudden over here, we have our Step 7 that me and my wife are trying to expand upon. And it was like, hey guys, you guys want to be a part of this? So we blended the two, and now our men's group is the board of directors for Step 7 Living. So we get together, we watch a message, a faith-based message. We talk about how that impacts our life. And then the rest of our hour, we talk about, okay, what is our next mission? What are we gonna do to grow Step 7? Who are we gonna help next? How are we gonna do it? And we go through all those logistics. So it's just kind of become the perfect combination of a life group that has a purpose, a life group that has this mission statement and what we're gonna do in our community through Step 7 Living. We first were introduced to mission through one of my best friend's daughter getting baptized. And we just fell in love. We just fell in love with the environment here, and this whole push for irresistible environments. We get that. We get that in today's day and age, you've got to get people attracted to church, first of all, and that after you're there, God takes over. Our job is done. A little story on my son, Nixon. He's 5 years old. He told my wife, he said, Mom, My favorite day is Saturday because I do not have school and we don't have to go to church. And first my heart dropped and I'm thinking, I'll fix that. So about that same time, we were in need of a shuttle bus for our Step 7 Living Ministry so we could do some homeless outreach. And I decked the shuttle bus out because now they love it. They want to pack all their friends in there, all of their parents, which are our friends, and we pack that bus, coffee and donuts, and they just cannot wait to go to church. And once they get to church, God takes over. So we get that we have to be a part of this movement to create these irresistible environments. And we're so excited to be able to help expand God's kingdom through this church because we're going to be able to see it firsthand. We're going to be able to see exponential spiritual growth happen right before our own eyes with our kids and then their kids. Because if we do not just give it our best, 10 years is going to go by like that and we did nothing. So I hear it all the time. People say, most of my friends, I don't have the money to pay my bills. How could I carve off 10% to give to God and trust that He's going to bless the rest? And it's very simple. I just say the same thing. You cannot afford to tithe until you start to tithe. And once you put all of your trust and all of your faith in God and His kingdom, you can't even explain what happens. It just works.